You know, you talked about the watch and how you use that to measure things. I think that good measurement
Mm-hmm.
also creates discipline.
Mm-hmm.
I know it does in my life. I'll give you an example. Because I measure and because I'm looking, it gives me the discipline to go finish.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you're looking at it all day, every day, and you see what you need to get to. You know, you set some standards so that you want to hit. You know, I call them goals. You set those standards, and then you want to make sure you're getting there, the minimums every day. So I think that discipline comes from proper measurement as well.
Mm-hmm.
How do you apply? You covered a lot of ground there, Alan. So how do you apply things in the book about? You see it in the book a lot, the responsibility and discipline. So, how do you talk about that with your young people? How do you help them get on their pathway? You know, I'm a big believer that our jobs as leaders is to lead. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's not to jam something down somebody's throat, it's to lead. So, how do you do that?
It's a great question, Bob. Uh, in my case, I have great examples and I have great leaders that I work with that I look after them and I take the best things for them and I apply it to myself, right? I can tell you with you, the thing on the book and the thing that I remember from day one that you taught me is be responsible. And that thing is very difficult because when you work with a lot of people and many things are not under your control, it tends to be like, no, it's not me because this part that, my boss this. And it's hard to be responsible because you have your hands in so many things that you believe that it doesn't really apply to me, what are they doing, so I'm not responsible for that piece. But when you cover everything and really believe in your heart that I'm responsible for everything that is happening, it's easier because then you don't have to be carrying that thing about saying this, and that. Now, with them, with the younger crowd, I guess more than that, they are motivated more by passion and by energy. So if you help them with their passion, they're gonna give you more. And before, because I grew into this company and I grew into this program, and I still believe that it can give me more, and I can give more to the people. You think that this path might be for everybody, but it's not. The reality is that this is a job that probably 80% of the people will just pass by, right? Only 15% of the people will stay and grow with us. So the rest of the people, it's not like we don't want them. We want them to be here because that's how we produce results. So how we teach, how we help them is like, this might not be for you, but in your time that you're with us, we're gonna give you something, right? So we can get something from you. And if we do that trade, the time they spend here, obviously we want them to make sales. They will make sales for us. We probably can teach them some of the things that will help them in their career, and they move to something different, right? And if we tell them that's okay if you want to be a business owner, that's okay if you want to have whatever, that's okay. That's okay. We're going to help you on that. But right now, here, let us help you with the things that you really gonna need if you go and do that, because everybody wanna be their own boss, everybody wanna have money, everybody, that is the dream. So if you empower them, go and live your dream, and definitely will help you. They feel more appreciate and they give more rather than say no.
The word there is beautiful, empower. That's really a well said word. You know, something that you guys have done very well, and I want to touch on this because it's huge, and I talk about it in the book. You guys have done an outstanding job of creating culture within your work environment. You know, that's something you guys spend energy on. I see a lot of follow up being done. You use, you got Jaime over here who runs that marketing area, a lot of production on culture.
Hmm.
Talk to me a little bit about that. What's the importance of culture in the workplace, and how much how much energy do you spend on that, and what are some of the things you did to create that?
We all we and I mean as a humans, we want to be part of something, right? At some point, money is good, lifestyle is good, but you wanna be meaningful, right? You wanna be part of something that you say, okay, I was part of that. I was part of helping that call center to grow, right? And you mentioned somebody that's very important for the company as well, Jaime. Jaime is the type of person who will come with 1,000 ideas with no financial support, and it's hard, right? It's hard for us on the numbers to see how those ideas will be viable with the business, right? But I love the fact that the ideas are there and the creativity is there. And then we have the time. Actually, if you see his chart, and I'm still having some trouble to understand that. But on his chart of the money of the time they spend on their department, they have a percentage on creativity, right? Like they assign time to creativity.
That's
Sometimes
correct.
sometimes for me it's like, what is creativity? Losing the time, just going out smoking a cigarette. Like for me, it's difficult to put that on a box, right? Because for me, times matter. If you're doing this, you produce this, you get this, right? But creativity matters because that's how the ideas come, and that's ultimately what it will produce money. So in that creativity, it's like, okay, we need to set something that at least we are following something, right? So
I
we,
think that's huge. By
it's
the way, I think you just hit on something that if anybody out there listens to this, if they get that to take away from it, having a structured approach to creativity
yes,
is huge.
yes.
Is huge. That's very good. That's another thing about measurement,
And
by
I'm
the
gonna
way.
give that to you because if I struggle
I may not
understanding that,
like it, but it's
if
huge.
I struggle, I mean somebody in your shoes that, because at the end of the day, this was an idea that we brought to you and you say, okay, let's do it, knowing that for X amount of time will not give you any kind of money back. It's just something that you're investing, hoping that something will happen, right? Something that creativity will produce in some sort of revenue for the
Well,
company.
I got to tell you, I certainly think that there's been a payback. You know, it's like I said, it's how you measure things also.
Exactly.
Sometimes you can't put a hard dollar value on something, but you can put an impact to your culture on something. And the time you guys spend on creativity and the results of some of that in the production that's created and stuff that's being used and the message that's sent out and the impact that that material has on the individual production of your team. That's a
Exactly.
measurable concept, and I think you guys have done a good job with that.
Exactly.
Rolling over on that, that's a great point, and you know, particularly in your area, Alan, the environment changes fast in the net center world because it's so IT driven, and IT is changing drastically and quickly. And you hit on AI, and you know, I'm reading some great stuff on AI. You know, you get the upside of all the great things it's going to do for us and the things it's going to help us with, but then you get the downside of where's the bottom line going to be? So I've spent some time on that. But that fast changing environment creates stress.
Exactly.
Always going to create a lot of stress because everybody now, particularly trying to find the return on investment with AI, any technology. You know of our experience with technology. You know
Hmm.
everything's 10 times what it said it was going to cost and 10 times the amount of time to get it implemented. So it's a very stressful environment. So what are you doing? What do you guys do to manage that stress?
For us, I think for the call center business itself, AI will be a game changer, right? Right now we grow by people, right? If we want to grow more, it's about putting more phones, putting more people on the phone, more sales, right? Growing with people comes with challenges. Challenges people itself and growing our hardware, right? So AI will provide us, we hope that it will provide us a tool that will allow us to grow without people, right? So we can do a lot of things without necessarily the human talking over the phone. If we do that today, we might be getting 500 people out of job, right? So that itself is stressful, right? Because to start with, in my case, I don't want to be the one that tell 500 people that they're out of job because we create something that is going to
Yeah,
be,
but do you want to be the one that now has an area that you're managing that you don't need that expensive 500 people?
well, that's
So,
that's kind of
so,
the
so,
dilemma.
oh, oh,
That's
okay,
kind of
I
the
get it.
dilemma.
So you want the best of the best.
Exactly.
Okay, I
I
got it.
want you to tell them that sorry,
Okay, I got that.
and it's
I
not me,
got
it's
that.
Bob. That actually I use it a lot, right? But it is like that. So
I think the skill set will change. I think that we always need people. I don't think AI will replace
in the
all
ideal
people.
world, will be.
No, I don't think it'll replace people. I think it'll replace jobs. I think there'll be some displacement. Rather than having a guy sitting on a phone,
Yeah.
you may have a guy tracking results. You may have a guy doing other things. I think there's always human value involved there. But let's talk about the stress a little bit. I want to share with you. In the book, I talk about this, and I want to share it with you, and because it's very close to my heart, it's very important for me. I think that a lot of the stress that we feel on a daily basis is self-inflicted.
Hmm.
And I think it's because we forget
Hmm.
the very true thing. I don't think anybody can question this. That which we most think about is which we'll inevitably have.
Hmm.
So I think a lot of stress in life is self-inflicted because we're thinking about the wrong thing.
Yes.
You know, I pound on this. I talk about this a lot. That which I most think about is what I'm going to have in my life,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's what I want
Right.
or what I don't want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think that if anything we can do with particularly young people is if we can spend some time and energy and help them understand that idea, right? You know, I use my wife as an example, Alan. My wife struggles with sleeping at night. And we talked about it a lot, and I've helped her look at that because it's all related to the fact that she spends so much time and energy thinking about the things she don't want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she worries about her children, she worries about her sister, she worries about the whole family. And unfortunately, her thinking is always about the worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And she has the tendency to bring that towards her. We all do in business. You know, I'll worry about not making budget this month. And sure enough, what I do, I don't make budget. Um, I've got a sales director that worries so much about which tour flow he's getting from which bucket that inevitably end of the month he doesn't hit budget because he's so worried. He's bringing it to him. You know,
Yeah.
he's analyzing the worst case scenario and spending all that time. I personally believe that, and this is my philosophy. Okay, if I got a problem, I stop. I try to clearly identify it. I try to put words to that problem. I ask a simple question: what can I do right now to work on this problem? If the answer is nothing, I stop thinking about that problem. If the answer is go call Fulano or go do this or go do that, then I go do that. Right there in that moment, I do it right then. But if I can't do anything right now, why would I worry about that? And I'll ask you a question, and hopefully you'll see the example. August 2nd, 2023. What was the biggest problem you had?
Can't really remember.
Of course you can't. So was it a problem?
But if I can't remember, it wasn't
Was it
really.
something that should have dominated your life at that moment in time? If you can't remember it,
Shouldn't
whether it
be.
got solved or didn't get solved, if it's not a result that you're looking at right now where you can right away say, oh, I had this, I did this, and this is what happened.
Yeah.
How big of a problem was it? How much energy did you spend worrying about that problem at that moment in your life?
Yeah.
I talk to people about that all the time. I think if we put problems in contents, we all got problems. There's going to be challenges every day that face us.
Mm-hmm.
You can either do something about it or not do something about it in that moment. Okay? If you can do something about it, do it. Get off your ass, do it. Right? If you can't, don't let that suck up all your energy on the creative side of getting other things done.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If we can teach that to younger people and particularly younger people, because I'll tell you, I wish I'd had that lesson when I was very, very young. I'd have gained a lot of wasted time. Um, I made a note here. Interesting. This is a little bit more personal. I'm going to start from here. That's not on my notes, but I'm going to start from here. Talk to me a little bit about faith and the importance of faith in your life.
Faith is super important. Believe it. I don't know if you believe in God or in religion or whatever you believe. It's good to have faith, because faith is what moves you for where you at, right? Myself, I don't consider myself very religious, but I do have faith in God, and I do have faith in myself, right? And with faith comes that you need to believe that you have the capability to do whatever you want, right? And that faith comes with the Lord. At some point, the Lord give you the capability to do anything you want, and we're perfect creatures. It's difficult sometimes to understand that you are perfect as you are, but you are, right? So with faith, and in a business that is result oriented, whenever you see a number that you believe that is impossible to hit, you got to, sometimes you just have to go with faith that that's the number, we'll get there. Then it's measurement, right? So how do we get there? Let's measure the results, and let's sure that
That's a great answer. Let me put a challenge on you.
Mhm.
In our world today, with all the information and misinformation, social media,
Mhm.
all that impact that we have, a lot of young people today don't have any faith.
Yep.
How do we help them I don't think it's my job to help you find faith. It was my desire because I've found a lot of peace, joy, and happiness in my life through my faith.
Mm-hmm.
So it is my desire that everybody have that. Okay. So, but I can't teach that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I can't obligate that. And I can't be overbearing on that because I have to be respectful that other people don't believe in certain things I believe in. But I can help people get on a path in their own discovery
Mm-hmm.
to go where they're going. How do you apply that with dealing with the younger people? Do you have time uh, to talk about that with them a little bit? How do you approach the subject? How do you touch on it? Being respectful, because remember, many people, there's a lot of people out there don't believe in God.
Yep.
Um, Not that they don't have a belief in something greater than themselves, but maybe they struggle with the concept of God. So we have to be respectful there. But how do we get them on that pathway? I agree with you, by the way. It's huge. It brings so much peace and opens so much space in my mind to be creative and to seek contentment in what I do in a stressful job,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think it's important, and I think it's important that we figure out a way to help people get on their journey, whatever that journey may be.
Okay, so let me give you an example because you say something about stress, and stress is there all the time, right? Particularly in the type of business that we are measuring every single week. I haven't been working, well, as a matter of fact, this is the only place that I've worked in my life, so I don't really have another example, but I don't really think that some other companies measure every single week what they're doing. I don't really think it's like that. We do. Every single week we sit and see, we measure what we did and what happened and what are we doing, right?
How do we get that to be every single day?
Nah, I'm not sure, and hopefully it will not be in my time. But nevertheless, by measuring every single week, you're measured. And like I said, nobody want to be measured. Nobody want to be scrutinized saying, hey, you're doing this thing, you're doing that thing. On the negative side, like, but on the positive side, it brings knowledge. Like, this is what you're doing. So to myself, being in this business right now for over 18 years, I always used to bite my nails all the time, like all the time. Even since I have memory, 6 years old, I start biting my nails a lot. So I dealt with anxiety a lot, right? So I took pills for anxiety probably for 20 years. And I was the type of person always worrying about the worst thing that can happen. Just that you said. In my mind, I created a scenario that every single day, the numbers were not there. I'm going to get fired. I'm going to go back to be poor. Then I'm going to need to find another job. Now I have a family and all those scenarios. And you create a story that sometimes is true to yourself, right? So you start to plan around that story because it's coming. The tiger is coming
You bring it to you.
and it's coming and I need to have plan B, right? So you say, what do I do? And I start with my nails. Okay, why do I bite my nails all the time, right? This is where I get my stress, right? So I make a simple change, like if I don't do this, what's gonna happen, right? Because to start with, my hands look awful, right? To the point that I was biting the thing that the last thing that you have there, and when my daughter, I am fortunate enough to have a daughter and a son, and I love them. I love my wife, Sophia. So my daughter once told me, Dad, why your nail is small? Why do you have like my? And then I'm thinking, well, if I tell the honest answer to my daughter, I might not be helping her, right? Like because I'm an Asian person, I'm buying. I'm like, no, I don't look after my nails. And she told me, why don't you and I go to make some manicure, and then your nails will be better at that, and you can have beautiful nails. So long story short, we did that, and made me realize that, yeah, I can make that change. So I make that simple change that to me it cost me a lot. I remember my mom gave me this chili thing, and I was biting, and I was all that hot, and it was very difficult, right? And then all of a sudden, little change it, and then what you just said, I said, okay, what if I change this thinking about the positive scenario that could happen rather than the worst scenario that could happen, right? And both are true, right? So I put myself more on that, and then I combine with sports, right? I love sports. Every single thing that is related with a ball, I'll do it. Paddle, soccer, tennis, golf, anything. By the way, I love golf as well because I think it's a sport that brings the best of you and the worst of you at the same time. So it's very mental. So I started doing golf, and then I was more present on today, right? So with that, my level of stress started going down, and one day I stopped taking the pills. I don't need it anymore. which I don't need anymore, right?
That's huge.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in that, by the way. Um, Goes back to faith.
Mm-hmm.
All the tools are there. We don't have to have these addictions in our life. Obviously, we have to look into what's driving that addiction. As you did with your anxiety, you identified it, you looked at it. Goes back to that's what I'm most thinking about is what I'm going to have. You change
Exactly.
what you're thinking about, you started having this other thing. We're about out of time. What do you got? You got anything special you want to say?
Well, first of all, I wanted to thank you. I read the book long time ago named Rich Dad Poor Dad. You are my rich dad. Basically, you're the one that told me how to make wealth. But when you hired me, I remember I was at my graduation table and you told me, come and work for me and you're going to make a lot of money. That was true. I did make a lot of money. And I started making money very early in my career. That gave me the opportunity not to worry about money, but worry about some other things. And that's a different story, right? When you worry about some other things, it just can open your mind. I think the job that you're doing right now with the book is awesome because you touch a lot of people, including myself. And I think those people will look after you, and we do really look after you. I find myself like 90% of the time with a problem coming to you. And what I love about you is I can tell you pretty much anything. And that is tough, dude. And that is tough when you want to share something that it might be very dark and you don't want to get judged or something. And you always open that door to tell me whatever you want, whether it's business or personal, and you focus on the action. That's super good. And this thing that you're doing, I think it will create more and it only empower us to go and do so, right? Because we really need to push the people to have faith, to have measurement, to be better, to aim for something different. And I think the timeshare business it's a beautiful business because it keeps growing. I passed the pandemic with you that everybody was suffering. Uh, our business competitor fired 1,000 people. We fired zero, and we grew. And in that particular moment, rather than start firing people, we grew two programs. As a matter of fact, you gave me some more things to do, and we did so. With that, and with all the things that you are doing, I guess I'm going to leave with the last question to you. How do you see yourself now moving forward, your role with the company and with everything is happening with the growth? Do you see more involved? Do you see more on this personal coach? What is your next step with your
Great
next?
question, now, and I'll give you a short answer. Um, I wrote the book to put something into the company that younger people could use as they start building their career. I'm hopefully that some of my experience helps them avoid some of the mistakes I made and grow on some of the things that worked for me. That was the purpose of the book. My vision of what I'm going to do. My vision in life is help as many people as I can find peace, joy, and happiness. That's my vision. That's what I want to do. I found a way to focus that and to funnel that through the company. And it's something that's paid off because I find when people are finding peace, joy, and happiness in their life, they're more productive, uh, and they pass that on to other people. So that's my vision. I wrote that book so that young people can use it, and middle management has a tool. I plan on continuing to do that. I think as long as I can be a productive part of this thing we've created, I will continue to do that. I do plan on spending more time and energy on this type of thing where we're taking this and giving actual examples. It's life. We learn by example. I'm a big believer that you can't hear what I'm saying because my actions are speaking so loudly. So I think if we do this and we give actual examples and some success stories and some failure stories and where things didn't work necessarily as well, we create those examples for people. I think that it helps consolidate the message. I think it helps push forward some of the thoughts in the book, and that's what I plan on doing. I want to thank you for being here today. This is great. Love having you come back.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's always a learning experience when we
It
talk and
is. It
we
is.
grow together. Thank you very much, and thank the audience for listening again. And
Thank you, guys.
look forward to podcast number 6. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.